Sometimes leaving isn't about abandoning you, but about finding the space I needed to heal. I never told you why I left because I was still trying to understand it myself. But now, looking back, I realize it was the only way for me to regain the strength I lost in the process. There were moments I questioned whether I made the right choice, but then I understood that leaving was a form of self preservation. I never shared the true reasons with you because I feared it would hurt you, but now I see it was a step I needed to take for my peace. Leaving was never easy, but staying would have meant losing myself entirely. I never explained why I had to go, and perhaps that's something I regret. But sometimes silence speaks louder than words, especially when the heart isn't ready to reveal everything. I wish I could have shared all of the reasons with you when I left, but sometimes words aren't enough to convey what's happening inside. It wasn't about you, it was about me needing time to rediscover who I am beyond the relationship. I never told you why I left because I didn't have the answers. I was lost, overwhelmed, and unsure of everything, including myself. Now that time has passed, I understand it was necessary for me to step away and find clarity on my own. Leaving was never an act of abandonment. It was a quiet plea for self-understanding, something I didn't know how to explain back then. I thought you'd understand, but I soon realized I needed to understand myself first. There were so many things I wished I could have said when I walked away. But the truth is, I didn't have the courage to face them, let alone face you. It was easier to leave in silence than to unravel the emotions that were slowly consuming me. Sometimes, when you love someone deeply, it's not enough to stay. You need to leave in order to let both of you grow. I never told you why I left because I wasn't sure I could even explain it to myself. I thought leaving was the only way to save myself from the confusion and emotional turbulence. I never shared the real reasons because I wasn't ready to face the complexity of what I was feeling, both for you and for me. Leaving wasn't a choice, it was a necessity. I couldn't keep pretending to be okay when I wasn't. And yet, I didn't tell you why I left because I didn't know how to explain the depth of my emotions without hurting you. Sometimes the hardest part of leaving is knowing you might never be able to fully explain why. There are feelings too deep to put into words, emotions too heavy to share. But in my silence, I was trying to protect you from my inner chaos. I never wanted to leave, but I couldn't stay either. There was a battle raging within me, and I had no choice but to walk away. I couldn't find the right words then, and maybe I still don't have them now. It wasn't you. It wasn't even us. It was everything inside of me that needed to change, that needed to evolve. I left because I didn't recognize the person I had become, and I wasn't sure how to explain that to you. I wish I had told you why I left. The truth is, I didn't even know myself. It took walking away to realize that I had to rediscover who I was before I could give anyone else the love they deserved. Leaving wasn't a statement. It wasn't about blame. It was a silent plea for time, for space to heal from the things I never knew were hurting me. I never told you why, because I wasn't sure myself. Sometimes the most painful part of leaving is knowing you might never be able to explain the reasons behind it. But I had to go, not because I didn't care, but because I needed to find myself again. I never explained why I left because I feared the words would never be enough. I left because I was broken and I needed time to put the pieces of me back together before I could share anything more. Leaving wasn't about you, it was about me. I never told you why because I couldn't articulate the mess inside my head. All I knew was that I couldn't stay in something that wasn't serving either of us. In my silence, I tried to tell you everything. I thought you would understand that sometimes the most loving thing I could do was leave, not because I didn't care, but because I needed time to breathe and figure out who I really was. When I left, I didn't have the words to explain everything that was happening inside me. I didn't even know what was happening inside me. But now I see that leaving was the only way to start the healing process. The hardest part of leaving wasn't going away. It was the realization that I would never be able to express everything I was feeling. I couldn't stay in a place where I was constantly losing myself, and I didn't know how to make you understand that.